This is the second video in the series. I started out the first time kind of explaining what I was going to do in the concept. I'm going to shoot a link to that video right here. Feel free to check it out at your convenience. Today, what I'm going to show you is I went ahead and finished the first part of what I started yesterday, which was laying out the top. So I started organizing everything, trying to get it laid out how I want. As I said before, I want to keep it random. I want to keep it really just non-perfect as I possibly can regarding how the top's going to look and lay out. So I went ahead and still spent most of the afternoon lining it up perfectly the way I wanted. I know it kind of sounds silly, but sometimes you actually have to intentionally be random, if that makes any sense. So anyway, what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and lay these top sections on. I will walk you through how I organized it, how I keyed it so that I don't lose place and everything matches the way it's supposed to. And we'll go ahead and get started on the HG1000. And yes, I've named it, and I'm calling it the HG1000. HG for Homemade Genius, and 1000 because it's 1,000 times better than any table you'll ever see. What I recommend whenever you're doing anything like this where you have a lot of patterns laid out is to try and key your parts. I have two pieces of tape on here, A on one side, F on the other, and they tell me to orient to the A and the F here. There are marks on the tape, lines, and what those are keys. And I'll try to put a, well, let me show you. Okay, let's say you want to put these two pieces together side by side. Let's say you've got 100 of these, or 10 of these, or 5 of them. It doesn't really matter. You don't want to forget that this piece goes with this one. What you can do, what I did here, was mark it with an A here, and then an A over here. That tells me that this piece is supposed to belong to this one. Now, that's great. You know that A and A go together, but then how do you contend with this? Well, you line it up, you get it perfect, exactly the way you want it. You draw a single line, and then you draw a pair of lines. Because when you put this here and you put this here, I don't care where you go, what you do, where you lay it out. A belongs with A. And when you line the lines up, you're back to square one. This is the first piece. A matches A, F matches F. I have the beveled edges, which I showed you how to do that yesterday, or on the last video rather. So I know that's where that one goes. This also has a corner, so it goes here. Now I know what you might be thinking. A and B, they don't match, and they're not supposed to. There's a gap here. And that's where this piece comes into play. Now you'll notice when I lay this down, fits in perfect, and then left to right, I line it up till all the indicator marks are exactly where I want it to be. And then that's going to be the layout for that piece. The last piece, random. I don't care where it goes. And that's it. This is ultimately exactly where I wanted it to be, what I wanted it to look like, and how I wanted it to end up. What we're going to do next is go in, and I'm going to show you how to adhere the first piece. Gorilla Glue, a mini paint roller, possibly a brush, a drill with a 5/64 bit, these ring shank nails I bought. So what I'm going to do at this point, take everything back off. We'll go in for a close-up on this first corner right here. I'm going to show you how. Before I get hopping too far, what I want to do, and I'll explain why in a second, is kind of mark out roughly where I'm going with the piece. Not being too particular about it. It doesn't have to be exactly on the line. I'm just trying to get as close as I can. Basically, the reason I'm doing this is because when I roll on the glue, I want to know where it's going. Again, as I said before, I'm using this Gorilla Glue. It's a good product. I've heard a lot of positive reviews on it. We're going to find out firsthand how Gorilla Glue works today. Start by putting it in the center. out. Try to get it to the edges here. I don't know how thick this is. I did not know how thick this is when I purchased it. And I'm probably messing up already, but because I read the instructions and it said to add some water to the surface that you're getting ready to use if it's wood or something. Obviously I did not. Making sure that these holes get filled. Okay. Going right here to the edge. Alright. First piece. I was asked when I was trying to explain to somebody what, when I was asked what I was doing, and I tried to explain it to them. Basically, what they had mentioned to me was, why wasn't I going to go ahead and just use laminate? Well, I need to be able to maneuver and move this stuff around. All right, here we go. They have an adhesive specifically for laminate, and it works good. The problem is you've only got one shot when you put the stuff down. I don't recommend using it. What I did was push it really hard, equal pressure on both sides, put the nail in the far corner. That's going to hold it in place for right now. That's really all I need to do. I don't need to go any further than that. Now I can take this tape. So I'm going to repeat this process for each panel and try to get this thing knocked out. I'm going to cut away right now. You see exactly what I'm trying to do. Alright guys, well I've got it down, all the panels like I wanted. And as I said, I just tacked each one in with 1 or 2 nails just to hold it in place. This last one's got one in the center. And like I said before, right before I put each piece down, I marked off where it was going to go with some tape, so that way when I applied the glue, I didn't go too far, and it did exactly what I hoped, which was keep it relatively clean. There's going to be some mess, there's going to be some squeeze out, and this is Gorilla Glue, so if I understand properly, the stuff is going to swell. So, basically what I'm doing right now, going across the edge, all the way around, kind of making sure it's all down, it's all flat, everything is seeped out like it should be. It went real quick. I probably could have videotaped it as quick as it went, but I knew it probably wouldn't make for good video. So what I'm going to do, start with here and drill these out. Okay, so you get the idea. What I'm going to do is go ahead and finish riveting this, or actually nailing this thing down the way it should be so that it's not going to fall apart, and then I'm going to go ahead and clean it, and then I'll do a once-over over the whole product so you can see exactly what it looks like. Keep in mind, I'll just go ahead and tell you now, along the edges down here, obviously I'm going to do the corners where they're supposed to be. I'm going to make sure everything's pulled together tight. And then I'm just going to put them maybe every 3 or so inches apart, roughly, however it works out.